Hey guys, this is Sunsfan with an introduction to Penguin Commandos, our latest custom hero we've added to our mod, Path of Guardians. Keep in mind that any custom heroes we come out with will only be playable on the 4v4 Chaos map. Penguin Commandos is an intelligence hero that not only sports a lot of burst magical damage, but can still be built to carry. This hero is based off of a couple of my favorite heroes from Han, Chipper, and Bombardier. The visual effects were done by Nabuja, coding by Vic Frank, 2D art by Sajidine, and voice acting by Cinderin, Slacks, and myself. The concept itself was also created by yours truly. The lore for this hero runs deep. The Penguin Commandos is comprised of 3 individuals. First, we have the leader, Slappy.
Slappy reporting for duty.
Second is Dopey.
Dopey ready for wrecking.
And third is Dr. Nigel Whickets, a penguin conservationist.
I am Dr. Nigel Whickets, and I am here to save the penguin race.
Slappy and Dopey are maniacal creatures of habit. All they know is killing. They feel it is their prerogative to destroy all penguins. They were actually able to collect many of these creatures themselves by posing to be penguins. As you can clearly see by their models, they are indeed not penguins.
Boom goes the penguin.
But as a result of their disguise, they were able to infiltrate the many penguin colonies, which resulted in a growing number of captives. They were quite small time until they encountered Dr. Nigel Whickets, who is in fact a penguin himself. Dr. Whickets' life mission is to save penguins, so as a result of his motivations and his naive nature, he was quick to trust the pair of penguins. Sadly, this was a decision he would soon regret. What started out as a seemingly fruitful collaboration turned sour immediately. Despite claims to the contrary from both Slappy and Dopey, Dr. Whickets realized quickly that every single one of Slappy and Dopey's spells, instead of saving penguins as they claimed, in fact killed them brutally.
Let the blood of our penguins flow through you.
Why do you do this to them, Slappy?
Alas, it was too late. Penguin supplies were already given over to Dopey and Slappy, while Dr. Whickets himself was taken captive by them as well. He now spends his days tied to the back of their sleigh as they continue murdering penguins in his presence.
Hello? Yes, you, the one with the crippling depression. I am being held against my will by 2 psychotic individuals. I am a penguin conservationist, and all they care about is murdering penguins. You must have
Penguin Launcher is a target position spell that will launch a live penguin in the direction of your choosing. Upon reaching its target, the penguin will explode, thus dealing 150 magical damage and mini-stunning whatever target it hits. At its highest level, you're able to have 4 charges of this spell up at one time. Upon being damaged by the Penguin Launcher, a short 3-second debuff will remain on the enemy unit. If they're struck by an additional penguin in this time, a bonus 25 damage will be added. This debuff can stack upon itself. Happy Feet is a point target ability that after a 0.8 second cast time will create a ring of ice in a 300 radius. Enemies caught within this sheet of ice will uncontrollably skate within it for the duration of the spell, which at its highest level is 3.5 seconds. Although enemy units cannot control where they are moving, they still will be able to attack and use spells while affected by Happy Feet. In addition, enemy units within this spell will have their magic resistance lowered by 30%. Snowball Effect is a passive ability that will occasionally imbibe your attacks with magical energy. At its highest level, every 7 seconds your next attack will deal 150 magical damage, which will splash in a 300 radius. In addition to this, every time you attack, the cooldown of this passive is lowered by 1 second. March of the Penguins is Penguin Commando's vector-targeted ultimate ability. When cast, it will produce a giant snowball in the sky that will drop 6 king penguins in a line. Each penguin will deal 400 magical damage, and the spell itself has global range. Aghanim Scepter can be bought for Penguin Commandos, which will buff their ultimate, March of the Penguins. It'll add a 30% slow and 100 magical damage per second to the areas in which the king penguins drop. These debuffs last for 5 seconds each. Talents for Penguin Commandos are a little bit more transparent than you might be used to. The right side of the talent tree is for the caster build, while the left side is reserved if you want to do some right clicking. At level 10, you can choose between 25 attack speed or Penguin Launcher plus 30 damage, which increases the base damage of that spell from 150 to 180. At 15, you have the choice of -4 second snowball effect cooldown, which reduces that passive from 7 seconds to 3, or plus 50 Happy Feet radius, which increases the area of that ability from 300 to 350. At 20, you can choose between Snowball Effect plus 100 damage, which increases the damage of your passive from 150 to 250, or Happy Feet provides haste to allies for 5 seconds. And finally, at level 25, you have a choice of plus 200 attack range, or add 3 penguins to March of the Penguins, which increases the total amount of king penguins from your ult from 6 to 9. The skill build is dependent on what kind of hero you want to be. Either way, maxing out Penguin Launcher will be your first priority, as it'll give you the most damage. If you're going for the default magic damage build, then you'll want to prioritize Happy Feet, as the duration and magic damage amp scales with each level. But you'll still probably want a value level of your passive. And then for the physical damage build, it's just a swap with the priority on your passive and the value level being Happy Feet. Here are some tips to get you started. Their first ability, Penguin Launcher, has a lot of speed and range, so if you can find an angle similar to a pudge hook, you can net yourself some pretty sick snipes. Keep in mind that it has to hit the target head on, as these don't do any AoE damage whatsoever. You can of course blow them all at once if you're confident in your aim. Happy Feet is very unique, as it isn't a stun, a root, or a silence, but something else entirely. Either way, it will confine people within a certain area, which should help you land your damaging spells. Of course, they will skate around uncontrollably, so you'll have to aim properly. Having said that, once they start moving, you can kind of predict their movements, as they will only change directions once they hit an edge. Also remember that it does provide magical damage amp, which of course synergizes with all your magical damage. And if you're going for the magic damage build, being able to provide you or your teammates with haste can be invaluable. The cast time and range of this spell aren't the greatest, so positioning is very important. For your passive, it's pretty self-explanatory. But if you're opting to go all in on a physical damage build, then attack speed will obviously be the best thing for you. Each time you attack, it will lower the passive's cooldown. Also remember, especially for the early stages, that only the cooldown scales with each level. This means that the passive will proc for the same amount of damage at all levels, so use it wisely early on for both harassment and last hitting. Speaking of last hitting, it also works on denies. And of course, if you do want to right click, it'll be important to focus on the left side of the talent tree, as there are 2 upgrades for this passive on that side. And then for the ult, just keep in mind that of course it is global, so buybacks into your ult can be pretty epic. Also, because of the way the 4v4 map works, everyone has visions of the Guardians at all times, which can lead to some hilarious Guardian steals. But for general play, just try to set this up with one of your teammates, because a whiffed March of the Penguins can feel pretty bad. Your Happy Feet can set you up to a degree, but you need to be relatively close to pull that off. So coordination with any other stun can do wonders for you. And if you want to maximize damage with this spell, then getting an Ags is an absolute must, as you'll do ridiculous damage when combined with your level 25 talent. Because of the way talents are set up, you're building this hero as either a magic damage caster or a right clicker. Let's talk about items for both builds. First, let's talk about the magic damage build. For this, you'll want to start your early game with phase boots and Ags, as your ult will deal a lot more damage as a result. After that, you can kind of build as the game needs. Bloodstone, Refresher, Octarine is always a good trifecta for a general build. Also, E-Blade Dagon can be in consideration if you want to go all in on burst damage. And if you're getting towards the end of the game, you could opt for even a hybrid build with some damage coming later in the game. For the damage build itself, I'd go with Treads into Hurricane Pike. This will allow you to keep attacking from a distance, as well as provide you with a Force Staff, which can be really handy on this hero. The attack speed you get from using the Hurricane Pike on a hero is also perfect synergy with your passive. After that, I like to go MKB into Moonshard. The Moonshard in particular is pretty important, as the faster you attack, of course, the more your snowball effect will proc. And after that, you can go Daedalus for even more damage, or a BKB, or even Satanic if you're having trouble surviving. Teammates that work well with Penguin Commandos are pretty straightforward. Anyone who can help set up your ultimate and other array of spells are always welcome. Heroes like Magnus, Mars, Void, Tide, and even our very own Thunderboar are terrific to have alongside the Penguin Commandos. For counters, magic immunity and gap closing are the best ways to deal with this hero. Of course, some of this is dependent on what kind of build Penguin Commandos goes for, but if he can't deal magical damage, then he's not going to be so great. So any BKB carriers or somebody like Lifestealer can just ignore a majority of what the Penguin boys have to offer. Dragon Knight with Ags can also be really annoying because of the inherent magic resistance. Gap closing is also a key, since Penguin Commandos don't really want to fight up close. So heroes like Spirit Breaker, Storm Spirit, Sven, and Spectre come to mind. Also, Snapfire with her Ags can close the gap on pretty much any hero. In addition to magic immunity, a simple force staff can help save a teammate or even yourself from happy feet. Thanks for watching this spotlight video for our newest addition to Path of Guardians. If you need any additional info on this hero or others, don't hesitate to visit pathofguardians.com. And if you want to join our POG community, you can find us at Discord at discord.gg/sunsfan. Keep in mind that we're going to continue to hold tournaments every few weeks, so be ready to sign up. Until next time, this is Sunsfan, signing out.